ain't but two things I gotta do, and those two things keep me busy. I mind my business and I stay out of yours. What's up, classy ladies? We are on our way to the W2 on this wet and dreary Monday. And I don't know, I like the view of it because, you know, the leaves are turning. Fall is my favorite color. It's kind of cloudy, but I don't like the wet dreariness of it. This part I can miss. I never like the rain, like how some people love a spring rain. Nope, never have. In fact, I was disappointed the rain stopped me from getting out and doing my walking. I've been hitting the gym. That stuff sliding all around. I got treats and things for the kids, popcorn for myself, because I didn't feel like making my caramel corn, although I do know how, and it's usually pretty good. But anyway, I've been hitting the gym because, you know, as I get older, it's important to lift weights and all of that stuff. I've also been reading up on creatine. So I guess I'm going to have to do that. In my mind, creatine was what athletes took to bulk up, bigger, faster, and all of that stuff. So I still have a steroid kind of mindset with it. But the more I read up on it, the more I realize, no, I need to get some of that. Protein, of course, we need. A lot of us have been trying to get it through eggs. But again, I was reading up on that, and they were like, you'd have to eat a ton more eggs to equal the protein that you can get in a chicken breast. Oh, okay. So I need to have maybe a couple of eggs for breakfast. That's cool, but definitely need to lean, I'm a little bit hoarse, excuse me. I definitely need to lean heavier into chicken breast. So things like that, those are easy fixes that I've been doing. So, I had some time. Well, I didn't really have time. I made time this weekend to pop in and out of social media. Two people actually, and I can't remember who, I'm so sorry, but they didn't want the credit for it anyway. But they sent me a clip of a substitute teacher. She's a gay lady. I guess she's a stud. That's what they keep calling her, a stud sub. Doesn't sound like the nicest term in the world, but they sent me the clip. And I was outdone. She ended up getting fired. And some people are saying she got fired because she's a stud. No. They let her go for some inappropriate comments. And I get it. Her defense to that was she's a social media content creator, so everything she does is content. And that's cool. But not everything you do with children should be content, especially other people's children, should be content. And I've taught lessons, and I've shown some of the lessons I've taught. Alligator, apple, yeah, it sounds like Feels good to get it right, doesn't it? All right, what's this letter? It does make a sound like you're hungry, but it's not called hungry. It does go, I'll tell you that. It goes, But what letter is it? M. Let's go back a little bit. There you go. S. Wonderful. T. But what does it sound like? We got tint, toothbrush, turtle, towel, turkey, toothbrush, tint, towel, turkey, Tuesday, tomorrow, tamale, turtle. This letter is T, and it sounds like T. S. Honey, you got work to do. S. Very nice. T. What does it sound like? Turtle, turkey, toothbrush, tint, You almost hit yourself in the pencil because you're not writing with the pencil. Sit down and do what you need to do, love. Oh, that is beautiful. Can I show you what I'd like you to do? I like the way you made your C, but you forgot to go up to the top line, down to the bottom line, curve it up and stop.
But, oh, thank you.
Oh, no problem. Can you do some? Let me go back. This was the what letter? S. Very nice. Turtle, tip, toothbrush. It sounds like T.
P?
It sounds like T. What letter kind of sounds like T? T.
T.
This letter is T. Let me go back.
S. T. P. T.
There you go. Good job. Look at it. T. T.
I'm talking about that other one.
Well, if you're talking about another one being T, then no. This one is T. Yeah. No tricks here. This one's T, and it sounds like T. But I've not shown the kids. In fact, if I reference their names, I edit that out. If they reference each other's names, that also gets edited out. But yeah, if she didn't know, I feel like she should have known. But have no fear. The teacher shortage being what it is, if she wants to sub again, I guarantee you. If she says, I won't do that no more, nah, I take that back. Nope. Let me walk that all the way back, because I forgot. She'd also made a very questionable comment. She said something, I ain't even gonna repeat it. If I can find it, or if I can play it or insert it, I'll put it in. But I don't understand people who see kids as tempting in any way, shape, form, or fashion. This summer I worked at high school, and I'm not familiar with the high school staff. So as I walked in, I would see someone and I'm thinking they might be a teacher. Maybe I can ask them directions or something like that. But even I knew to be reserved, because a lot of these boys have beards and mustaches and girth and all of that stuff that, you know, at a first glance you would think they were a man. Now, that being said, I don't know how anyone has a conversation with these kids and doesn't know that they're kids, doesn't see that they're kids. Like that's highly disturbing to me. I don't even understand, and I know it's legal. You're 18, I think 18 is the age of consent. I say think, because that hasn't been any of my business for decades. But they say that 18 is the age of consent. You'll hear these grown men all the time talking about how, you know, she's real mature, she's real this, that. Okay, I've seen young men who had their heads on straight and they had good ideas about their future and how they wanted to be successful and things like that. So I could say they're mature for their age. I found no whatsoever attraction in them though. Like, huh? That's, to me, that is very, very weird. And I'm, you know, trying not to label folks, but that is a very weird type of behavior. Even the men who talk about those young girls being so mature and all of that, and that's why they feel okay with dating them, they don't have friends. Like how I just talked about those young men being mature, those men who those men who like 18-year-old girls and such, they don't hang out with 18-year-old boys. They're not doing what they're doing. And not only that, but the mature young men don't even want to hang out with no old dude like that. Not unless it's their uncle, their father, or something like that. So that whole theory that they try to run by me doesn't work. But anyway, back to the substitute teacher. She said some stuff that was highly questionable. So no, I take that back. She doesn't need to be rehired. Excuse me for a second. All right. So anyway, I forgot where I left off, but I was pretty much saying her inappropriate comments probably did that. Then I saw a part 2 video, because I guess once I watched the first one that people recommended, the part 2 came up, where she is basically trying to gaslight folks. Like, I can't remember her specific comment that she made, because I'm not gonna lie, stuff like that is kind of cringy to me. Like, I have to busy myself doing something else, because if I really focus in on that kind of depravity, it does something to my heart. Like, even like when I saw that clip of Diddy and Cassie in that, by the elevator or something, it was really, really jarring, because I'm well aware, and I might have said this at the time when that was going on, but I'm well aware that there are men who put their hands on women, and I should stop saying it lightly. I think I say it lightly for my own sanity or something, but I'm well aware that there are men who beat women. But to actually see, I've even seen the evidence of it on women. I've heard women tell their stories, but to actually lay my eyes on it, that is difficult. And listening to that woman talk, I remember I was, kind of moving around, sorting laundry, but to focus in on that and listen to it is very difficult for me, because I've seen the other side of it. I've seen, granted, young children, but I've also seen older. I've taught the young children, but I've also seen older children, teenagers and stuff, who are very grossly impacted by that. But anyway, she gets on and she's saying, it's pretty much, it's a shame on us for taking her words at her words, or for taking her at her words for what she said. Like, girl, not the gaslighting part of it. I mean, yeah, we grown out here. You're not finna groom us into believing what you're saying. I can't even say save that grooming for the kids. That's who it works on. But yeah, you're not. No, that was a horrible thing to say. And I know a lot of times people think teachers are like cops or something. Like, you hear of a blue wall for cops. Most teachers don't have that blue wall. We just as disgusted as y'all. Ain't no defense for that. None at all. Like, even when I just said that they look grown, when I went to high school, they were looking grown. I had enough sense to still keep my mouth shut, kind of wait, kind of see how they move and things like that before I even asked them for directions, because I don't even want y'all to misunderpret. I don't want the boys to misunderpret what my intentions are if and when I have a conversation with you. But can I say this too? When I was there, I ran into some of my former students in high school, and they are, it's so funny to see them as they get older, because a couple of them looked and they got excited when they saw me, but then they remembered, I'm in high school or whatever, I gotta be cool and stuff. But then there are also a couple of them, they didn't care. They ran over to me and hugged me, and I had to tell one boy, like, baby, you gotta hug me with your high school body. You can't hug me like you still in kindergarten or in first. Like, no, you gotta hug me gently. Because I mean, you hear about them being gentle giants and stuff. That is 100% true. So that part is adorable. But yeah, I wish more people could take the time to really see the innocence of kids and understand and appreciate it. Because when you do, you don't want to harm them. You don't even want to see them harmed. Like that's insane. I don't know how anybody sees these stretched up kids, because they're really just little kids stretched up. They haven't developed their frontal lobes. They haven't really developed their ability to make decisions and things for themselves. They think so. They think they know everything, but they haven't. They haven't learned that stuff. So yeah, she got fired for a good reason. Y'all thought I was going to defend her? Y'all was wrong. But anyway, I'm just about at the W2, so I'm going to talk to y'all later. Whew. Baby, when I tell you, they ain't give me no free check today. Truer words have never been spoken. Oh, them literal made me work for every penny today. Yes, they did. Made me think of that, what was that, Diary of a Mad Black Woman? The only reason I let you stay, yeah, that was me today. The only reason I kept showing up was to get that check. A lot of days I can say, oh, it's so fulfilling. It's so, today was draining. I'm gonna have to drain something too. A wine glass or something waiting on me. Have mercy. But anyway, just, you know what? It was so bad that it was, I'm gonna see if I can let y'all take a peek. I ain't gonna be like that substitute teacher now. That I'm not gonna do. Where they show the kid and we're not doing that. just the same old little snippets that I've shown before. It was so bad I had to go on and laugh. Nothing in the glass of wine can cure. Nothing in the glass of wine cannot cure. But anyway, some of the stuff, other stuff I watched, two people sent me that about the sub. Y'all forgive me if I'm repeating myself, because I talked to y'all early this morning on the way to work, and now we're talking on the way from work. But I watched that, and I'll tell you what else I saw. I don't even know how or why it popped up, but it was a woman who had gotten engaged, and take me through that, take me through that, take me through that, take me through that. And she was talking about how she said they told me not to make his lunch. And then I guess it was her girlfriends filming her. They were like the choir. They were like, yeah, they told me not to pay for dates. Okay, but I did. And, you know, she got engaged as a result of that. And so what I saw was a reaction to it. I didn't see the actual TikTok because I was on YouTube when I saw it. Child, gotta entertain myself between some of this homework, because some of that homework, lordy, I'm like, y'all know we got full-time jobs and other stuff to do, don't you? They act like they don't. But anyway, I saw her, take me through there, take me through there. She was so proud and happy. I couldn't help but be happy for her. I love love. I don't care what nobody says. I love me some love. I love a good love story, all of it. Anyway, so when I was getting ready for work this morning, I saw on the Hallmark Channel some movie with Megan Good and Taye Diggs. When I tell you I did not recognize Taye Diggs at first, I'm not even kidding. He's gotten a little fluffier or whatever, but I truly did not recognize that man. But it was some little movie, can't even remember what the name of it was, but essentially it was about her being a young mother of 3 like teenage-ish girls. I say young, she's probably acting the part of a lady in her late 30s, and I don't think he had any kids, but you know, he'd fallen in love with her. They went through some trials and tribulations, and I really wanted to sit back, stay, and watch that movie, to the point that I was like, should I retire a little soon? It's so funny the things you start thinking and putting out there. No sooner than I thought that, I talked to one of my girlfriends, and I just on a whim called her, because she's retired, and I was like, get your butt up out that chair where you taking a nap, because she had told me she likes to take a nap in her recliner. She makes up her bed and she doesn't get back in it. And I was like, oh, but baby, that's where you and I differ. We is different, because I will make up my bed and I do not care. I will tear that bed right back down and take a nap. I don't even just take no average okie doke nap, baby. I'll take a shower, I put on me some pajamas, and I get right back in that bed. Like, I take a for real. I might not even wake up to the morning nap, and I've done that before too. I wake up and I'm like, dang, what time is it? It'll be like 2 something in the morning. I get up, if I didn't already, I'll brush my teeth, wash my face again, because the first time when I took the nap, I washed it in my face. I took a shower, did the whole thing as if I was going to bed. But something about waking up at 2-ish, I'll get up. Now, I will say, a lot of times if I do that, I might have like a quarter of a glass of wine or something. Because the funny thing is, I'm talking about wine a lot. I promise y'all I'm not a wino, but yeah, anyway. But wine is one of those things, like how people, oh, I'll have a glass of wine, it relaxes me and go to sleep. It does not do that for me. What it does is it will put me to sleep, but it will not keep me asleep. Now, the knock-knock, if I want to get knocked out, the knock-knock for that is going to be some brown liquor. That brown liquor going to put me out like a light. But a little bit of wine, it just kind of puts me to sleep. So if I've awakened at like 2:30, I'm gonna get up, I'm gonna do the little routine again, and then I'll lay back down with that little quarter glass of wine, and now I'll go to sleep. But I know I won't be in a deep sleep that I can't get up for work, or I can't get up and function and do whatever else I'm doing. I don't even know how I got there. Oh yeah, I was talking about my girlfriend. So anyway, I called her and I was like, get your butt up out of that chair where you sleeping, because it was my lunchtime. And she was like, I'm not even sleeping. And she kind of mentioned being bored sitting around, and I was like, see, no sooner than I started thinking about, oh, am I ready to retire? Am I ready to sit down? Everyone I know personally who's retired, they go right back to work. Like they sub or they find something else to do. And I don't want to do that. I don't. Like when I go sit down, I'm gonna sit all the way down. I'm gonna break a chair sitting down so hard. That's how I'm sitting down like that. I'm not subbing, none of that other stuff. That's a wrap. So I want to make sure I got all my little ducks in a row, and you know, I'm planning out trips and things like that's really what I need to. When I plan on retire, I want to be able to afford myself and take myself on trips at least quarterly. Because I'm like, if I'm retired 4 trips a year, that's not a lot. I know a lot of people who work and do that now. I will say I'm not scared because I don't really live in a state of fear, but I am aware of the possibility that if I take my black tail out of this country, there's an orange fella that might find a way for me to be stuck out of this country. And I was telling my girlfriend that, she was like, girl, if we get stuck, let's get stuck in Dubai, where they pay teachers good money. I'm gonna tell you, the setup in Dubai is so sweet. I've known a couple of teachers, only 2 though, but I've known a couple of teachers who have gone over there, one black, one white. Both of them said the level of respect for educators through the roof. Ain't no raising voices, acting up like the stuff we tolerate here in America. They ain't tolerate none of that over there. They pay the teachers very well. These 2 were paid very well. They were paid for their cost of board. Like all they did was net their check, their good check. And so they went over there and lived for a year. So if y'all ever see me talking about we're moving to Dubai, baby, you know why I did it. That sound like the ticket for me. Like, yeah, buddy. So if I in my mind, this is kind of how it's working out for me. In my mind, the very year I retire is the very year I'm gonna go right on over into Dubai and teach for a year or 2 if I really like it, you know, and then we'll see from there. Because I've actually not been to Dubai yet, so that makes sense. They also say Thailand has a similar deal like that, but I am aware of black people having gone to Thailand and not being treated with the same regard as in Dubai. Now, maybe it's because I'm going over there with the purpose of educating in Dubai. I don't know. Like I said, I haven't been to either of those places, so don't be surprised. Be like, oh, she living abroad. She doing, you know, whatever. That's because I'm going to be netting a retirement check, and I'm going to be pocketing that Dubai check. That's real good right about now. But we gonna stick it out for a little while. But yeah, that's what she and I were talking about, because we also talk about traveling and things. Now, where she lost me was going to Alaska. There's no part of me. Oh, we got the roadblock. What's happening? Is your car broke down? Let me not act like other folks be acting all in the business. I say that while I'm looking through my side view mirror. But okay. Anyway, I forgot what I was saying. That's what I get for being nosy. But anyway, I'm gonna take my. What was I saying? Talk about traveling. Go. Oh, where she lost me. Where she lost me was going to Alaska, and she was like, "You ever think about going to Alaska?" No, hasn't even. It truly hasn't. Not even to watch the whales. I was like, maybe when I turn 70 or so, that'll be a nice cruise. 70, 75, I don't know. I still plan on shaking and moving. I see some ladies on YouTube. I wish I could call out their names, but I've seen a couple, 2 or 3 ladies on YouTube in their 70s. They're still moving and shaking, baby. So I don't even know if I'm gonna go watch the whales then, but it's certainly closer to then. But yeah, no, especially coming up on the winter time. No. And I want to go to Dubai about this time of year. This would be a good time. I wonder when their school starts. I really need to start looking into that, because I ain't playing. That's probably the real thing that I'm going to look into doing. But anyway, I ain't really talking about nothing other than dreaming of retiring and all of those things. But no, I ain't gonna do it no time soon. So y'all know the things I said I'm gonna do, but we'll talk some more in a bit. Okay, y'all, so it's a little bit later. Just when y'all thought y'all was through with me, I had more to say. But anyway, we had a girlfriend with a dilemma. We all on a conference call, 3-way call, whatever you want to call it. And she was bothered because she had an incident at work. And I'm one of those people, look, I promise you, the stuff that used to get me fired up and, you know, ready to go, in my younger years, maybe even as much as 10 years ago, really just doesn't faze me now. We were all through talking. She wanted to know my thoughts on it, as in what would I do? And I was like, I'd lay low. Like Whitney Houston said, you better lay low. I would lay low. Like, I just, here's my thing. Anytime I have a situation at work, I document. I save emails. I have a designated folder, which is very interesting because recently my job switched to a thing where an email that's a year old just fell off. You could save it, you could mark it, you could file it. It didn't matter. That email was gone when you went back to check on it. And I thought, oh, thank goodness I'm a person who prints my emails. Like if it's an important thing that I want to document, I print my emails. But as far as getting all upset and bothered, I honestly don't. And let me tell you another scenario why. Carmen may take her time. Carmen don't show up when I wanted to. Carmen just like God. Don't show up when you wanted to, but it always shows up. And it always shows through. I just try to make sure it don't show up on me. Because I feel like me going out of my way to do things to people and all it, no, that's an invitation for my own kind of karma. I just don't. So I lay low. But a scenario that I can tell y'all about, because I'm not going to tell you her situation, this is another time when I was looking for another job. And one thing about me, I love looking for a job when I already have one. So anyway, I was looking for a different job, did the interview, and the biggest question, the best question I should say, that you can ask at the end of the interview, because they're like, oh, do you have any questions for us? Of course you want to have done your research. You want to ask intelligent questions about the company. But then as it pertains to you personally, one of the things I always ask is, now that we've had this opportunity to talk with each other, you've asked me several questions and things like that, I'm feeling pretty good on my end. However, I'd like to know, and you have to figure out whatever iteration of your own that you want to put in there, but you ask them, is there anything that would prevent you from hiring me today? And that sounds like a, oh snap, kind of bold question, but I have found that what employees like, because I mean, unless you're applying for a job where you don't want any movement, you don't want any upward movement, they are going to know, oh, this is a person who knows what they want. They're not afraid to ask for it. They're direct, things like, it's not a negative. You might be thinking it is, but it's never a negative to state your standards, state your expectation, let them know that, essentially you're saying, I don't want to sit around and wonder, is there anything that would prevent you from hiring me today? They said they wanted to go back and check on my references. I was like, cool, they're my references. Of course, I'm not going to have any bad references. I'm not doing that. But at that time, I had a principal with whom I didn't get along the best. And it wasn't like I disliked the person as a person. Well, kind of it is. It was that this particular principal lacked character. Like, honestly, she would tell you a lie as quick as look at you. She had an attitude of my way, or, I'm either going to help you up in my way or help you out. It's going to be like she basically was a my way or the highway kind of attitude. And most principals I know are smart enough to know that if teachers called out on a blue day, if all of us decided not to show up, baby, you can't run that building by yourself. We need each other to make this whole school community work. But this particular principal just had a certain attitude, and I understand it. Like, she knew people who helped put her in position and things like that. So she also just had kind of a chip on her shoulder. But even with all of that, I genuinely didn't care. I was the last holdout. Like, I was working on a team and they were like, how can you stand this about her? How can you stand? I was like, she's new to this. Give her a chance. Because my honest, like I told them then, and I meant it, my honest thought was that if someone was judging me, much less a staff of 50 professionals, some who have been at it longer than me, some who maybe as long as me, some a little bit less, very few less, but there's a certain amount of bravado, I think, that sometimes people have to put on, like fake it till you make it. So I could understand that about her. What I couldn't understand and what I couldn't abide with was the lying. So that to me is kind of where I got the ick on her. Like, oh, that's pretty disgusting. That, and then the whole attitude of my way or the highway. You don't even know enough yet to have a way. You're still in the learning phase, and that is okay. Like, people who are veterans were in the learning phase for years before we became veterans. You know what I mean? Like, and still you have respect. And that's another thing. I had a hard time because I was trying to respect the position of principal or administrator. So I really was on board with that. I respected the position. However, I can't respect a position you don't respect. When you're in that position and you're lying, when you're in that position and you're manipulating people and you're playing with people's careers, because that's what that lying was about. It was lies put in place to manipulate and scheme on people who have been at it. Like, it was really, really disgusting. So that's why I can't say, oh, I kind of liked her as a person. At first I thought the person was fine, but then all that lying it became obvious. And like I said, I was the last holdout. I was like, oh, maybe this, maybe that. And then after a while I was like, wow, this person really is just what she looks to be. But with that, I still wasn't bothered. I felt like, as I was saying before, the position still needed to be respected, and that's where I was trying to go for that. But again, I can only respect a position as much as that person does. So, like, you know how there was that time when priests were doing disgusting things to children. I felt like they disrespected their clergy by doing that stuff, whereas other people were like, oh, but it's a priest, oh, and they passed them on and let them. It was as if that position of them being a priest mattered more than the children that those priests were harming. No. Same thing goes with cops. I respect a cop. I mean, if you pull me over and you got me, honestly, cool. But don't pull me over on some old, you didn't turn on the signal. I ain't turned on the signal because I ain't turned. Like, I've been pulled over for a lot of BS reasons, just for driving while black. Do I respect those cops? Absolutely not. I can't respect you more than you respect your position. That doesn't mean I'm talking all crazy and wilding out when I'm dealing with them. In fact, I try my best to deal with them as minimally as possible. You want my what? Here. But all that, yes sir, no sir, and I don't do that. It's disingenuous, and it doesn't even matter. Y'all remember the cop that killed Philando? Y'all remember how his girlfriend was, sir, I just this, sir, I just, he didn't care. He could not have cared less. So once they disrespect their position themselves, no, I don't have a lot of respect for that. I respected your position at first. You showed me not to. But anyway, turn off my car, pulled up. So anyway, it got to a point where, dang, I don't respect that. How about, long story to say all of this, after I'd asked that interview question of, is there anything that would prevent you? She was like, no, I just have to check your references. I didn't put that administrator down as a reference. That administrator took it upon themselves to insert themselves and say a bunch of negative, disparaging things about me. What they didn't say was I had recently won Teacher of the Year. What they didn't say was that I was the person responsible for putting on Black History programs and things like that. What they didn't say was I was the person who had presented in several staff developments. What they didn't say was I was over so-and-so committee. You know what I mean? Like, they twisted and lied and tried to put me in as negative a light. They were like, they even said something about they wouldn't rehire. Honey, you didn't have the sense to hire me in the first place. No, a whole bunch of people you've hired have since left because you was such a mess. You know what I mean? But it got reported back to me because I called that person and I asked. I was like, so what happened? I was expecting, better news than this. That was when she was like, we decided to go with a different candidate. I said, oh, but per our interview, at the end of the interview, because I'm already knowing, I had a sneaky suspicion that snake was going to slither out of the grass to do just what she did. So, one of your references didn't check out. One of my references didn't check out. Live from the pits of hell, I knew that they did, and they did. So how do I know this? Because later, as it turned out, that same administrator, hours away, applied for a different position. Here's what I didn't know. I didn't know human resource people were in communication like that. Like, I'm in education, so I would expect a person who's in human resources in education to know other people in human resources and education. That part makes sense, but not outside of education. How about that administrator applied for a different job outside of administration and the name rang familiar? Not just because of what she had said, but because when I called back, I was like, oh, no, I'm sorry, when they called me back, and I was like, oh, I expected a different outcome per our conversation at the end of the interview. She remembered that. She remembered how surprised I was, and she knew that all of my other references checked out. Not to mention, I also slid in, because I told her, I said, I'm so disappointed to hear this. I understand that the job offering is closed, blah, 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 but can I send you some more information? So I ended up sending her my evaluations from that same administrator. But you wouldn't rehire a teacher that you gave all the highest marks. Not even one slightly lower mark did I receive. And so when I did all of that, that lady knew, okay, something over there is fishy. It wasn't me. And how do I know this? She ends up reaching back out to me. Months and months later, she reaches back out to me and she said, I apologize. I feel like we missed out on a great candidate. I don't know if this would matter to you or not, but said administrator was interested in a different position. Her name came up and I did share with my friend, her other friend in HR, some of my concerns that I had regarding that hire. And I was like, oh, okay, thanks for letting me know. But you know what I didn't do? I didn't celebrate that. I didn't even laugh at that. I was just like, wow, you want to talk about karma coming back, karma, biting you in the butt and things like that. I did zero work to try to harm that woman. In fact, had no interest in it. That's one thing about me. Like when you are a girl's girl, oh, that's what I was talking about. Take me through that. I'm going to get back to that when I come back. But I need to get my stuff and get back in. I got way too much to talk about that's going on. But anyway, I'll be back. Anywho, we back, girl. I guess today is just a day for people to show their tails. I had to deal with some folks at my job and now this. I just walked out of the store. And actually, when I was walking in the store, I heard a man, sitting out, have you registered, blah, blah, blah. Have you registered to vote? Heard him talking to a couple of people. He didn't ask me on the way in, nor on the way out. But tricks on you, boo-boo. I is registered. I probably ain't voting the way you want me to vote. But I wonder what it is about me. What did he see about me that made him not want to holler at me? He ain't want to ask me for my little vote. I wonder what that was. He want me to register. Wonder why. But anyway, that's one thing about living in certain areas. I will say that. You're giving your take on that. But anyway, getting back to Miss Take Me Through There. I'm gonna tell you, if you can't tell, I was cracking up. It was something about the way she said it. But she was happy to be married. Like I said, I love love. I was happy for her. I don't think she's married yet. It was just her engagement. But she's happy to be engaged. I'm happy for her to be engaged. And I saw people just tearing her down. Like, may that love never find me. I hope, I never get that. We gonna see you later with a different story to tell and stuff like that. I don't understand that. Because just like I was saying with that administrator, I didn't wish them no ill will. I know that she tried her big one. She did her best to try to bring me down, to alter me and all of that. Now, I will say, I'm not gonna hold y'all. Finding out that she was a disgusting liar and into the stuff that she's into, yeah. Nah, I ain't had no respect for that. And I would say that my disgust of all that altered me for a brief period. Like, why are you in this position when you lack the ethics, the morals, the things like you're trying to tear people down who have worked hard. And one thing I know, this is a younger person, so in her mind, she only understands intruder drills and school shootings, and she's not aware that before there were school shootings, there was a term called going postal. Going postal, for anyone not knowing, referred to people who may have gotten fired, and usually it was at the post office. That's how going postal got its term and its name. But it referred to people who got fired, people who were harassed by upper management or co-workers and things, and they come to the job and just air it out. That's what all of the mass shootings really started as, to my recollection. So this person has no understanding of that. So as she's lying on people and she's manipulating people and she's using her position to do harm to their position or to do harm to their career. And I'm gonna tell you one thing about me, I'm not that person you really play with when it comes to my money or my family. You want to screw me over, do your thing to me. But you start messing with my money or my family, and I'm not sure I won't go postal. You know what I mean? So there are certain things I can't even allow myself to get too bothered about because I know myself very well. I've been put hands on somebody real quick behind my career. Something I've worked on for like as long as somebody been alive, and you need to pick something else to play with. That's just not a healthy idea. So yeah, I don't even allow myself to get too upset about stuff like that. But all that to say, this person is unaware of going postal. This person is unaware of the ramifications of playing with someone's livelihood. It's, you know what I mean? Like that's part of that disgust for me. You don't like somebody, boom, you don't like them, you shoot them a square one. I don't like you, you know, let it be known if you must, which I think is unprofessional. It's really nobody's business who I do and do not like at my job. It's not my business if you do and do not like me. You just need to stay in your professional lane. I'm sure enough stay in mine. And had that person done that, I'm sure she and I would have gotten along much, much better than we did. But all that to say, that person actually reached back out to me to let me know, hey, I think we fumbled on you as a candidate. You know, I ain't even go into what happened with the other people. I was kind of surprised, but I will say the education world is a small community. And I feel like if I reach out again for a different job, or if they have another opening, which they will soon, I would be better treated with regard to that job. But yeah, anyway, because, you know, she's still in the business of education. I'm still aware of that person. But all that to say, going back to the take me through that, take me through that. Girl, I gotta say it like that every time. Take me through that, take me through that. They said don't fix his lunch. Take me through that, take me through that. They said don't pay for dates or something like that. But anyway, I genuinely disagree with the women who were eating her up in the comments. Just like I don't wish no ill on that administrator, or I didn't at the time. I don't wish any ill will on that lady who is doing, now she doing stuff I wouldn't do. Every lid ain't for every pot though. You know, that lid of a man she got, he couldn't fit on this pot. That's just me. And so what? But I feel like when you really call yourself a girl's girl, when you really are supportive of women, if that is what that woman wants, if that is how that woman feels, if that is the accomplishment that woman wants, you support her in that. You big up her. You be glad for her. Like, I just don't see why people were tearing her down. I am a woman who has happily fixed my husband's lunch for him. I am a woman who has gone in on dates and trips and all of that with my husband. I haven't had a problem with that. So maybe some people would want to eat me up for that as well. Will I continue to do that moving forward? Only time will tell now. For people who think, oh, you know, you've gotten to a certain age, you better be grateful for what you, baby. At my friend's party here recently, she had a girlfriend who had just got married. And I would say she's in her upper 50s, closer to 60. She's married to a provider. She chooses to work, but the money that she has and earns and all of that goes on top of things for their vacations. You know, she bumps things up. She provides as she wants, but the bills and all of that are provided by her new husband. If she's been married a year, it's barely been a year. So all of that talk about what is and isn't possible, I mean, I'm not that person who's going to pretend that I go to church and I pray and I'm, you know, then turn around and do whatever ungodly things that there are to be done. But I am a spiritual person, and I do believe in me some God. And I believe if that is the kind of man that you want, that is the man that is on your heart, that man is there for you. For those who believe, those who earn, those who do, that man is there for you. That man that she wants, take me through there, and all of that, that's the man for her. He needed a woman who did all of that in order to be engaged to her. He found the woman that it took to be engaged to her. The only thing I would think about that, if I had anything negative to think, is that, baby, how you got him is what you're going to have to do to keep him. You know? And I can't even say nothing about that because, like I said, I fixed my husband's lunches. I did. If I'm already in there, I fixed dinners. He couldn't cook. You know, he could grill, but he couldn't cook. But if I'm in the midst of fixing dinner, if I'm fixing, like if I were a coffee drinker, I'm fixing coffee, I don't think it takes a lot more effort to fix 2 cups than it did to take 1. So I've never had a problem with that at all. So that's, to me, if you're really a girl's girl and that's what she wants, you can't wish her nothing but happiness. I didn't even wish that administrator, like I said, to not get the job that she got. That was karma working on her. I never said a word about, ooh, I hope she get hers. I knew darn well it was her that had something to say. She wasn't even a reference. She decided to insert herself. And because she inserted herself, she screwed herself. That's just how life works. So I make it a point to not insert myself in other folks' business. I am so busy. Ain't but 2 things I gotta do, and those 2 things keep me busy. I mind my business and I stay out of yours. You do that and life is gonna go well for you, I promise. Anyway, time for me to head on home, make up my little dinner, and we'll talk some more as usual. Alright, we back home. I still got it in my brain, y'all. It will not give me peace.
They told me not to make his lunch. Oh, okay. They told me not to fold his laundry.
Oh, they said that?
They told me not to pay for dates.
Okay.
Take me through there. Take me through there. Talk about pack that nigga lunch.
Take me through there, take me through there. Hey, take me through there, take me through there. Ain't got rain on there nowhere, but hey. Alright, anyway, I'm home. Getting ready to cook up this salmon that I talked about. Sprinkling a little paprika. I'm going with adobo and rosemary. I always like rosemary. Something about rosemary and thyme, honestly. I'll probably whip out some thyme in a minute. That just goes together for me on salmon. But I need to open it up. I want to sprinkle it on. Sprinkle me back. Sprinkle me all the time. My skillets are about ready. So let's put this on. We'll let that cook for a little bit. I'm gonna wash these dishes up. Y'all, that'll probably be it for me for tonight because I'm out of shot. Sorry about that. I was just saying that'll probably be it for me for tonight because I gotta get back to some homework and all of that stuff. We're still working and finishing up all the things we need to do. But it's been good talking with y'all. If you have not yet, hit the like, share, subscribe, and what's that new one? The hype button and all of the things. Please do so, as that would help my channel out, and I truly appreciate it. But with that said, ladies, good night. Love you. Goodbye. Take me through there. Take me through there. Hey. I wish y'all could smell this salmon. It smells so good. I just put a little bit of soy sauce on it. You know, just to give it more of that, I don't know, it just gives it a more savory flavor. Some people like Worcestershire sauce. I like soy sauce. If it don't taste but 2/3 as good as it smells, baby, it's gonna be so doggone delicious. I'm ready for it. I think I will put in just a little more cooking oil. Looks like I've cooked most of this oil up. And you see how pressing it down gives it that beautiful coloring. I'm just adding just a little bit of my rosemary infused extra virgin olive oil. And then we'll toss this in the oven. The oven's just about ready. Give it about 10-15 minutes. I like my salmon well. I've got a girlfriend who does not, so we do real well when we split it. But ain't nobody splitting it, baby. This is all me up and through. All me, all up and through. So take me through there. Take me. I swear I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop. Let me put this in the oven. And y'all, this is one of my super simple meal preps that I do. I just take a salad. Like one of these bags here is good for 2 days. And I'll just sprinkle salad. And then I divide the, what are these, pumpkin seeds, tortillas, whatever this is. That didn't turn out quite as even as usual. Put that in there. And then this is the part where normal people, my salmon is all cool. Normal people would probably put this on top to eat it like that, but I don't like my meat to be ice cold. So I literally put the salmon in its own container, and I'll take like 2 of these. This is one meal and this is another one. But yeah, that's it. This to me is just a super quick and easy meal prep. Of course, that ain't gonna fit all the way in until we do a little extra with it. But yep, that's lunch for a couple of days. All right, let me get out of y'all's hair for real.